I've got my dechlorinated water here left over from filling up the fish tank, so I'm just going to go ahead and clean off this old piece of junk pump. I would definitely not suggest buying one of these guys. They're completely useless. I mean, it moves the water around, which is good for them. It adds a little bit of air to the water, but just a waste of money if you ask me. The first thing that you want to do when you're cleaning these filters is you want to unplug them. And so you can go ahead and do that. Once you've unplugged it, you can it's got like a hook that hangs over the edge. You can just detach that and you can just set that in here. And you don't want to throw these away unless they stop working, or after a few months, I guess about 6 months. When you're cleaning your fish tank pump filters, you just want to get the old food off the outside, just like this, just kind of running your finger across it and, you know, mixing it around in this water and just trying to get rid of the old food products on the outside, whatever got caught up in that filter. You can run your hand in here and just kind of like you're washing a dish, just kind of get the slime out of there. What you don't want to do, you don't want to ever use any soap products or anything like that. Obviously, you don't want your fish to get soap in their fish tank. And I don't know, I'm just going to hang on to this just in case someday I end up wanting to use it for something. But I'm going to be breaking down this fish tank. When you're doing the water change outs on these little 20-gallon tanks, or 5, 10, whatever the smaller tanks, if you don't have a Fluval pump or some type of pump like this, it's really helpful to have a shop vac, and you can even just pick up the just the motor part of the shop vac and attach it to a little bucket. But I don't even have one of those, so I don't have the money to go out and pick up one of those right now. So I'm just going to take this right here and I am going to manually remove the water. Now, I'm not doing a water change out today, but this is how you would do a water change out. Today I'm just removing all this water out of here. It's always good when you get like a big fish tank, especially. I mean, even these 20-gallon fish tanks get pretty heavy. Even without the water, they're pretty heavy. This guy is almost impossible for me to lift when it's empty. When it's full, yeah, I can't even lift up one corner of this. So when you're purchasing a fish tank, you know, just keep in mind that, you know, it's good to have a shop vac or some way to get the water out. And you need to maybe have a friend with you to help you set it up, because trying to lift these things is impossible by yourself. They weigh a ton. So just imagine having yourself a way to break it down and get rid of the water and do some changes on it, you know, if you need to, before purchasing it. When I realized that this little fish tank was, I mean, 20 gallons, don't get me wrong, 20, 25 gallons is plenty for a couple of little glowfish or something like that. But these goldfish grow like 6 inches. You need a good 50 gallons just for 3 of those. And it's always good to have, you know, at least a couple of fish. You don't want to just have one, it'll be all lonely, right? So this is just really difficult. I mean, if I was to do this little size one again, I would still want to get this big pump for it, because what you want is, you definitely want something that gets down to the bottom and sucks up really hard, sucks up all this stuff off the bottom, or else you end up with a bunch of crap at the bottom that you have to net out with a net every day. And this is just little tiny bits of food every day. It ends up adding up. I am just breaking this fish tank down because I am sick and tired of cleaning the bottom of this. So I've taken the little glowfish out of there and put them in here with the goldfish. And a lot of people are going to say, well, your goldfish are going to eat your glowfish, or your glowfish are going to be the wrong temperature. But I keep my water room temperature, and so both of them have been fine at the room temperature. The goldfish aren't eating them. I looked up which ones they were. I think they're Danios. There's like 3 different types of glowfish, and you know, they can nip at the glowfish. The glowfish can nip at the goldfish, but I haven't seen them nipping at my goldfish. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on them, making sure everything's okay. They can get a disease that can get my goldfish sick, but it's just much easier for me to use this big tank. Once I get about 10 gallons of water out of here, I will just go ahead and use this water that's in there to scrub off the sides a little bit. You know, even though it's still pretty dirty water, it's just easier than trying to take it into the shower or take it outside and use a hose. I mean, I'm sure I could take it outside and use a hose, but it'll just be easier to use this water that's in there to scrub off the inside of the glass. And that's what you do to keep the glass clean, is just use the water that's in there to clean it. You don't have to take all the water out and take it into the shower or hose it off or anything, take all your fish out. Now you just do quarter water change outs, and while you're doing the water change outs, just use your hand and scrub off the sides. And whether you're using the Kratky system, which is basically leaving it alone and not doing anything to it, you know, and you can look up YouTube videos on Kratky systems, or if you're using the deep water culture system where you have a bubbler and you have a flow of water going through there, no matter which hydroponic system you're doing, it's really easy. I mean, I don't water this plant. I don't do anything to this plant all week. Once a week, I dump this water out and I put in some of my fish water with my Aquaponics fertilizer, and that's it. It's just a once a week change out of the water. I do tighten this string up a little bit, you know, make sure that it's taut and make sure that it's holding the plant up out of the water. But other than that, really simple growing hydroponics, and this works for any plants. I would have to say that the tough thing about aquaponics system is definitely going to be the fish. Keeping the plant alive, like I said, super easy. You just get a bubbler, you know, you just fill up a bucket with water, you make sure the roots are under the water and the plant's above the water. Real simple. I mean, there's different ways to do it. You can look that up, but it's really easy. Keeping the fish happy is a whole nother issue. But even that's really easy. It's just a matter of making sure that at least once a month you're cleaning your filters out, that you do have a good filtration system, and once a week cleaning your fish tank and doing quarter water change outs, you know, making sure you're not overfeeding the fish, and you want to have some air in those things as well. The fish need the air, and the plants do as well. So this is where I'm at as far as aquaponics is concerned. I have my plant growing just fine. I have my fish growing just fine. I am using my fish water to help feed my plant. The next step is the technical step, if you will. I've seen all kinds of different techniques that work just fine. The goal is to have the plant be a ammonia filter, like a biological ammonia filter, because the fish are excreting ammonia, and if they swim around in it for too long, they'll get sick. So what you want to do is you want to use the plant to remove the ammonia, which feeds the plant, and then get that water back into the fish tank. So you're conserving water, soil, everything. This aquaponics system is definitely an electric, you know, it's not an off-the-grid system. And so once I get the water circulating from here into the fish tank and from the fish tank back to the plant. Once I get a closed system and I'm doing it like that, I will take it to the next level. I know that the fish do require bubblers, so I'm not too sure if I'm going to need electricity for the bubblers. I may be able to hook that up to solar or something like that. As far as the filtration system, I honestly don't think they need it. I think I can put in some biological sponges into the tank itself. And yeah, I'm trying to go off the grid with it. Now that I've gotten about 10 gallons out of here, that's almost half the water. I'm just gonna use my hand, as I've shown in other videos. This is how you clean your glass on your fish tank, is just use your hand and scrub it. They have little magnets that you can clean the outside and the inside with, but I prefer to just use my hand because I can kind of feel if there's anything stuck to the sides or anything like that. And I'm just breaking this down because I'm not going to be using it anymore, so don't mind the nastiness at the bottom. As you can see, the bottom of this one is much better, and that is all due to this flue valve pump as opposed to the little janky pumps. I've done a few episodes on starting a fish tank, and I honestly have not been able to do much research on it yet. I want to get into it a little bit deeper, but what I can tell you about starting a brand new fish tank, if you haven't gotten your fish tank yet, don't buy the fish with the fish tank. Buy the fish tank, clean it out, fill it up with water, get your pump, hook your pump up, get your pump running, and then you need to maybe add food and maybe some ammonia, and you need to get the nitrogen cycle started. So it takes about 6 weeks, a couple of months before you're going to be able to put your fish into your tank. So don't go out and buy fish right away. Once you've gotten your fish tank full of water and you got your brand new fish tank full of water, you've been adding food and ammonia and stuff like that to your water to start your nitrogen cycle, you waited a couple of months, you can take a water test down to PetSmart, and they will examine the water. So just make sure you test your water before you put your fish in, because I put fish in a few times and they died before I realized that I needed to get the nitrogen cycle started. So don't go out and buy fish until after you've had the tank for a couple of months with the water sitting in it, adding ammonia and adding food to it with your filtration and your aeration setup. Then test the water, and once they tell you, yeah, you're ready for fish, then go get your fish. Right about this level of water is where you start to get to a problem. So your empty gallon jug of water isn't going to be able to get the last little bit of water out of there because the hole is so high up that it doesn't even reach the water. So what I do with this, and it would be really nice if I had a shop vac. I would suggest getting a shop vac if you're going to have a fish tank. I can't afford one right now. So what I have to do is I have to pick up one side, and luckily with this 25-gallon tank, I can actually lift up one side. With this guy, yeah, there's no lifting it up. I don't care if there's that much water, I can't lift it up. So, just keep that in mind. The weight of these fish tanks is outrageous, super heavy. So plan out that before you buy your tank. If you do have a 50-gallon tank, you're not going to be able to lift the sides up. In fact, you can't really by yourself pick one of these up because they're just such an awkward hold. Even if you could lift the weight of the glass empty, it's still hard to pick it up. These little 25-gallon tanks, I can lift up the side and use my water jug to get the water out of the corner. But at a certain point, I can't even use it to get that water out. So it's good to have a couple of people to do this. Hopefully, if you have decided to get a fish tank, you have a friend that can help you out with carrying it if you need to. This is definitely not a one-person job. If you're trying to empty out your fish tank, completely clean it out, there's really no reason to do this, but I am, because I got rid of the fish out of here. I was using this type of fish pump filter, which kind of hangs on the side here on this little tank, and even with just feeding them a couple little pinches of food, I was ending up with a bunch of food at the bottom that I was having to clean out of there every day with a net. So since I do have this big giant pump hooked up to this big giant tank, I went ahead and swapped my little glowfish into that tank, and I've been keeping an eye on them. They're doing real well. But since I'm not using this, I might as well use it to put my plant in. I don't like this plastic tote. I don't like using plastics, especially for food. I'm not doing food yet, but I will eventually. So I'm going to go ahead and put the roots of this plant into this empty glass fish tank. We're going to go ahead and reuse and recycle. Well, that's a little bit better. I mean, I can't wait to get a big tank like this for the roots, but this will definitely allow for some good root growth. 25 gallons is a huge amount of space for the roots. The roots on my tomato plant grew to fill up a 5-gallon bucket real quick. So I think that I will definitely want to get another one of these tanks just for my plant roots. But this right here, this system will work okay. We got the air bubbler taped down with the hose so I don't trip and knock the hose out. The hose is attached to the side so it doesn't get disconnected. The plant is leaning a little bit to the left so that it pulls it up against this corner here. Got the right water level in there so the plant isn't covered up. I did just take a little bit of the water, a little bit more water from here so that I could add some water to this tank, because this tank's a little bit bigger. So the cool thing about this tank, this 25-gallon tank, fish tank, is that it's gonna take a little more of this fish water that I'm wasting and throwing away and use it. It's also a little bit more space. It's also glass, so no plastics in my plant. Altogether, just love it. I am gonna go ahead and top this off just a little bit. So I'm filling up a 5-gallon tote with some lukewarm water. I'm gonna add my dechlorinator to that and then use my pump to top off the fish tank, but I'm just about done with this project so far. I know that some of the aquaponics lovers out there will definitely have something to say about this clear root system. You know, what about the algae, the light hitting this water, the algae is going to grow in there. But the cool thing is I have 2 of these, so I'm going to be swapping them out and cleaning the tank once a week, so I will not be getting any algae growth in there. And I get to see my roots. Got my 5-gallon tote of water, and once again just going to add my water conditioner. And I am going through some water conditioner, especially when I'm cleaning these filters, because they get pretty nasty. And I'm still debating on how much to feed the fish. I don't know what it is, whether they're like psychically telling me that they need to eat more. I don't know how they're doing it. As much as I don't want to feed those fish anymore, I can't help it because they get so big, and I want them to get nice and big, and well, I don't like being hungry. So I just want to make sure that they're eating enough, you know, and but anyway, I'm battling myself and I'm ending up feeding them too much. I mean, I feed them a pinch, they eat it real quick, so I feed them another pinch. So it's not really too much, but anyways, I'm having to use a lot of this dechlorinator. I just want to take a moment and look at how beautiful these fish are. I mean, they're just so gorgeous. This is Goldie, Sharky, and Big Booty. Big Booty was completely different colors. In fact, all of them were pretty much different colors to begin with. And then these beautiful guys here, this is Marco, Froggy Man 5, and Moth. So yeah, I've gotten to the stage where I get to name my fishies, and they are just so gorgeous. So fun to look at. This plant is just beautiful, just gorgeous. Just a really fun event. I can't wait to get some more plants for this, but this guy is looking beautiful. He's bright green, no damage, just wonderful. Now, since I had already gotten this all filled up to the top and then realized I wanted to do another little bit of water in my new fish tank for the plant, I'm just adding a little bit more water, topping it off, and then I will be all done. Got that old fish tank cleaned out, reused, recycled, so real cool. Just gonna close the end, open this, and that is gonna suck the water from there. So you know, you can either switch the in from here to there, or you can switch the out from here to there. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to take the water into the fish tank, or if you want to take the water out of the fish tank. But it's really useful. Now I just got to keep an eye on it and turn it off before it overflows. So I have to keep an eye on two different things. I got to make sure that this isn't sucking in air, so I got to make sure this still has water in it. If it runs out of water, I gotta shut it off before it starts sucking in air into my system. Gotta keep an eye on this level to make sure it doesn't overflow, which it is just at the top. So we're gonna go ahead and shut this off and open the end back up. And we got it all topped off. So everything's all done. Got the fish tank cleaned. Got the plants all cleaned, the fish are all happy. Got the plant in a new fish tank here. Got the roots all happy. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode, and please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Appreciate you guys.